Have you ever had to run full speed with a straw in your mouth while pinching your nose? I have. In 5th grade, our science teacher had us do this experiment to experience what it felt like to have asthma. Little did I know I would develop this disease later in life. How do you feel?
My chest hurts and I can't breathe.
Asthma is like gasping for air but never feeling like you get enough. By the end of the speech, I hope to give you a better understanding of asthma, how it affects your lungs, and ways to prevent and cope with it. According to the National Heart, Lungs, and Blood Institute, 22 million Americans have this disease. 6 million children have this disease. Asthma is a chronic disease that affects the respiratory system or your lungs. Some symptoms of asthma would be chest tightness, shortness of breath, coughing, and wheezing. Ways to get asthma or increase your chances of having asthma would be having one or both parents passing it down to you. Also, if you have had several respiratory illnesses before the age of 6, that also increases your chances. Allergies such as eczema, allergens in the air such as dust, pollen, trees, grass, flowers, animals. That also hurts while having asthma, triggers your asthma. And then smoking and lack of exercise do not contribute at all or help you at all with asthma. So now that we have a better understanding of asthma, we're going to talk about how it affects the lungs. So for the anatomy of the lungs, according to Kinney, air travels through your trachea or your airway or windpipe, goes down into your bronchi, and then branches again down to bronchioles, and then into tiny air-filled sacs known as alveoli. And then it attaches to your red blood cells and travels throughout your body. So when you have asthma, mucus will build up, or you'd have inflammation in your airway, which would be triggered from dust, and it would pretty much just clog your airway. So now that we know what asthma is and how it affects your lungs, we can talk about how to prevent or cope with it. According to the Mayo Clinic, there is no treatment for asthma. However, there are ways to prevent it, but it's not always guaranteed. You want to stay up to date on your vaccinations, your pneumonia vaccination and your influenza vaccination. You want to learn how to control your breathing and know when you're about to have an asthma attack to prevent it. You want to eliminate as many allergens as possible, such as dust or mold, within your household. And you want to take your medicine correctly. So for me, I have sports-induced asthma, in which I will take an albuterol inhaler as needed. And then always have a plan, and make sure that your family and your friends know what your plan is so they can act on it just in case you don't have your inhaler nearby. Knowing how to control your asthma is a way to deal with it. So for me, I was in high school, I was a soccer player, and I developed sports-induced asthma. And I learned that having a running buddy to kind of encourage me and talk me through it helped with not having an asthma attack or controlling my breathing. I also learned to pace myself. There was times to where I couldn't keep up with the group because the humidity was affecting my asthma, so I had to slow down and go up my rate of speed. Also, there are support groups online, as there is for everything, that is just nice to help talk to people who are experiencing what you are experiencing. So now that I've informed you how asthma affects you, your body, and ways to prevent and cope with it, you have a better understanding of asthma. In case that you ever run into a situation to where you yourself or someone else is having an asthma attack, you can learn or explain to control it. So grab a straw, insert it in your mouth, plug your nose, and take off running. Experience what it is like to have asthma.